Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Pre-Market News and Views by In the Money Stocks. Today is Monday, March 5th, 2012. Let's get right into the charts here. We're going to start off with the S&P 500 E-mini futures. They are trading lower by around $3.25 at the moment. Futures were significantly lower around 4 o'clock in the morning. However, once the U.S. dollar index starts to pull back, the futures will catch a bid. Let's take a look at the U.S. dollar index and you'll see what I'm talking about. See how the U.S. dollar index topped out around 4 o'clock in the morning, started to sell off, and that's exactly where when the markets started to inflate higher again. But nonetheless, markets are still slightly lower, down about 3 points at the moment. Not a bad day or not a bad start for the futures coming back up. As long as the dollar falls, the market will inflate and trade higher. That's pretty much the gist of it. Unfortunately, so will gasoline and oil. They'll trade higher as well once the dollar falls. So it's a double-edged sword there. You can't have your cake and eat it too, unless you're expecting higher prices in the energy markets, and that's usually what you get. But futures trading down at the moment, down about $3 to basically 1365.75 per contract, and we'll see where this market settles in at the open and how it trades. But again, Mondays are usually a light volume session, have a tendency to be at least on the lighter side. That usually will help the markets out. Light volume generally, when you have light volume, you have to give the markets a slight upside bias. So we'll see how this market trades over the next couple of hours. But once again, we're just trading slightly lower ahead of the opening bell this morning. Now, a couple of things to talk about real quick. It looks like last night, or I should say this morning rather, the Asian markets really took a little bit of a hit. You had, I believe, the Hang Seng was down last night, trading lower by about 1.4%. It was actually down 1.38%. You also had the Shanghai down about 0.6%. The Nikkei was down 0.8%. But India, which is the Sensex, that looks like to me it was the big loser last night, down about 1.55%. So watch the Indian ADRs here today. If the U.S. markets are weak, Indian ADRs are certainly likely to be weak as well. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Now, on other news, looks like in Russia, the elections are over, and Vladimir Putin, believe it or not, gained 60% of the votes. So he is back in power for another 6 years, I believe. We'll have to watch and see how the market gets affected by that. I'm not seeing anything right now. In my opinion, all you have to do really is to watch the U.S. dollar index and the market overall major stock market indexes, especially the S&P 500, will just trade inverse to the dollar. But that's what I'm seeing, and that's really the gist of the news right now. I think there was some European business activity news out there where it contracted a little bit, but I'm not going to make much out of that. Just watch the dollar. The dollar will tell you everything that you really need to know going forward. Okay, let's take a look here at oil and gold. We'll start off with oil. It looks like spot crude, I believe, is trading higher by about 5 cents, and that just happened as the dollar started to sell off. And you can take a look at the USO this morning, sitting right around $40.80. Really nothing really wrong here. Closed at 40.77 on Friday afternoon. So really flat oil right now. No real change there. But if the dollar does start to move lower, you could probably look or expect a bid to take place in the crude markets. By Friday afternoon, the crude markets held up very, very well. So somebody was telling us they did not want to get out of crude before the weekend. So pretty important. But again, most of the crude market, even though there's geopolitical events in Iran, most of it will have to do with the U.S. dollar. When the U.S. dollar is weak, you will get inflation in the crude and energy markets. Alrighty, let's take a look at gold here. Spot gold, I believe, is down 5 points right now to 17.04 an ounce. Let's take a look at the GLD, which is a vehicle that most people use to trade gold, and you'll see right now trading at 165.69, $165.69. So gold is catching a little bit of a bid higher off of the morning lows. And if the dollar again starts to fall, expect for gold, silver to move back up again. And again, as I'm looking on my other screen here, I see the U.S. dollar index falling, and you can see that quick little snap up in gold in the GLD right here. So GLD, oil will all trade higher when the dollar falls. That's really the gist of it. Keep the dollar down, and you have a inflated stock market. If the dollar catches any kind of a bid, you will have a deflated stock market. That's really the gist of it. Okay, let's take a look at SLV this morning. SLV, same thing there, off of the morning lows, coming back up, trading right around the 33.50 level. The SLV closed at 33.76 on Friday afternoon, so starting to regain what it lost. Only down, basically, it looks like it's just down 26 cents from Friday's close at the moment. But once again, dollar falls, silver will get a bit higher. Now, there's only a few stocks I see this morning. Really, not a lot of activity going on out there, but there are a couple stocks worth noting. Let's take a look at them. I'm going to start off with this Ancestry.com. This stock is trading higher. Looks like it's all the way up to $39.93 this morning. Again, oh, I'm sorry. This is Arctic Cat. This is Arctic Cat, not Ancestry. We'll get to that one in a minute. But this is Arctic Cat. I don't want to make too much out of it. It's already extended. I'm not sure, how much it has to go here, but I don't really see any real great levels to sell this thing. It's also a very, very light volume name, but I would not be a buyer up here. So this one is trading higher. BP was in the news also. It looks like it's settled. Its Gulf oil spill for $7.8 billion, I believe. Stock is getting a nice little gap higher. Again, this is another one. I'm not sure what it has left in the tank. I don't see a lot of upside here for the stock at the moment. But nonetheless, the gap is not a weak gap. It's actually a decent gap up. So, again, maybe it holds, maybe it doesn't. I wouldn't do anything with BP right here. I would just leave it alone. It has the ability to trade higher, though, especially if the dollar falls. So BP could get more of a bid if the dollar falls. But really, I don't see a great trade there. Let's take a look at MCP. This was up this morning. This is good old Molycorp, rare earth metals. You'll see Molycorp is trading up to around 26.20. That's a strong gap up as well this morning. There are some moving averages on a daily chart coming into play around the 27 and a quarter level all the way up to 27.75. But it is a strong gap up for Molycorp. The stock has been just beaten down ruthlessly on the daily chart. So catching a bid this morning looks like a pretty strong gap. I don't have a great level here. I would have to think 30.50, 30.75 if it gets up there on Molycorp. That's where you would look to exit if you do own this thing. And if you're looking to short it, that's probably your level as well. But right now, I wouldn't do anything here. It looks like a slow morning where you're not getting a lot of activity in many major names. But that's sometimes how Monday is. Monday is a little bit of a slower day. So in any case, that's what we're looking at the moment. We'll see if there's anything else out there as the day begins, but I'm just not seeing it really right now at the start. Okay, so we're going to leave it there. I want to wish you all a great trading day, and we will see you on the charts tomorrow morning. Take care, everyone.